Welcome to another episode of iSocialTalks. I'm your host, Brian Fanzo, known as iSocialFans. And today we're talking big data, social data, all kinds of data and analytics, and a little preview of what I have in store next week at IBM Insight. So first of all, it's TGIF. Happy Friday, October 24th. The reason I know it's October 24th is tomorrow is my anniversary of being married 11 years on October 25th. I got married in Virginia Beach 11 years ago, and it seems like time flies. 3 daughters later and 3 states later, I am happy and growing family. So today we're talking some social data and kind of hitting a couple different points, and hopefully, first of all, thanks everybody for joining us as always. You can, use the hashtag iSocialTalks on Twitter. This talk kind of is a little bit of a bridge. If hopefully you guys are tuning in to Cloud Talk, the community show that I host on Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon on the Eastern time zone. We were talking, Daniel Newman and I, my partner and co-host, we're talking about wearable technology, which, as you can see, I wear daily. I even have what I call the original Apple iWatch, which is the Apple iPod Nano Watch. But we were talking wearable technology, Internet of Things, talking about all these things that had to do with data. And someone had asked me, like, man, Brian, why do you get so excited about data? Aren't you a digital strategist? Like, what's... And so just like a quick background refresh is I'm a computer science, computer information systems major to begin with. I worked cyber defense for many years for the Department of Defense, then did a startup with technology for the data center company. And for me, data has always been a huge thing for me. I also play poker semi-professionally, and data is a huge element of poker. And I'm not a math guy, and so when I played poker, I needed to gather data or information about my opponents so that I could leverage that at certain points. And so I used a bit of psychology, a little bit of data analytics, and then I would even chart and graph every single hand I played so that I would get the highest percentages available. But when I think of data now, and especially with the social business employee engagement community that I work with, we talk about how the customer and the consumer is the most powerful person now because they are so connected, and they'll go to Best Buy and they'll be shopping on Amazon.com and just window shopping because they have all that data, all that information is right there in front of them. And what I like to say is that means that they're giving us all of the data we ever dreamed of having, all of the feedback, all of the path to purchase, all of how many clicks does it take before someone buys something on a website, or how many times do they have to retweet my tweet before they start following me on Facebook. All that data is there for us today. It's just a matter of filtering it and then figuring out a strategy and a goal and what we use it. So for me, social data has a huge impact on my day-to-day engagement, not only my personal brand, but the clients and companies that I work with from the enterprise technology side, and even this video series. I look and analyzing, even today, I was analyzing how many minutes of each of these videos are watched and how long it is when people usually eject from one of my YouTube videos, so that I can try to hopefully not talk faster, because I know that would scare many of you, but I can try to keep these videos at the optimal length. And I'm always adapting and adjusting, doing a little bit of A/B testing. So I shared my last video was a little bit over 10 minutes. The one before was 23 minutes. I've had a couple that are in the 5-minute range. And it might seem sporadic, but for me, I'm doing all of this testing because I want to know what works. And I'm always tweaking and testing. So the reason I geek out the data is, to me, I don't ever worry about being perfect. I just try to make today a little bit better than yesterday, and tomorrow a little bit better than that. And by doing so, I love to gather data. And I gather data, everything from how people engage with me on Twitter to the best comments I've ever got on blog posts to, I use a term called upcycling a lot. And what I choose to upcycle, which means taking one great piece of content and turning it into multiple pieces of content. Well, if you took every average piece of content and did that, upcycle it, you just had a whole bunch of extra noise, and we know we don't need noise today. So for me, looking at that data, looking at those analytics, understanding and listening to the community, a lot of the data for me, I have a sign, I need to pull that sign back out, that I had a previous boss that always told me, don't ever present me data unless you can answer the question, so freaking what? And by that, he meant, give me context and give me the data that I can actually take action from. Don't just give me data like, hey, we got 400 likes on our Facebook page today. Okay, well, what does that mean? Did any of them go and to our store? Did any of them download a white paper? Did we record their email address? All these things are things that we have to think about when we're talking about data. So I like to say data is never the whole story, but it's definitely a major part. And I would say data plus some context plus some community gut instinct is how we actually tell a story with data. So the reason I'm talking data and the reason I'm excited about data is I'm going as an influencer and as a special guest there for IBM Insight in Vegas next week. So I'm actually leaving there on Sunday to go out and talking everything from big data and analytics to content management and how that affects data, how IBM Watson is dealing with data, how small businesses need to start to embrace data, which I can't wait to talk about that. So Monday at 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. Pacific, join me for a Twitter talk, a Twitter chat, hashtag IBM Insight. I'll be doing that, a Twitter chat or a crowd chat, actually at crowdchat.net. I'll be doing that live there at IBM. So make sure you follow me at iSocialFans. I'll be tweeting out lots of the preview information there. But I'm also excited because lots of tech video influencers are going to be there at the event as well. And I love collaborating. And to me, one of the greatest things about social is taking great online relationships offline. And so one of my good friends, Ian, who I've been Twitter friends for a long time, became LinkedIn buddies, then Google+, then Facebook. Now we share pictures, congratulate each other on things with our families. I get to meet him for the first time in person there at IBM Insight, along with hopefully lots of you that are watching and lots of the community that is supporting me. And not to mention No Doubt, which is playing the one night, I think Tuesday night concert, which I think, if I remember correctly, No Doubt was the first concert I ever went to on my own. I think I was 14 or 15 and got to see the Spiderwebs tour in Virginia Beach. And so I'm a big fan of No Doubt. And then my biggest thrill, which if you are a House of Cards fan or a Kevin Spacey fan in general, I get to see him do the keynote there at IBM Insight. And after watching him do the keynote at Content Marketing World and just how real he kept it and how he talked about data and how content played in his world of House of Cards and TV, I really can't wait for that keynote. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'll be live tweeting as always. I talk fast and tweet fast. So this is where I actually have to back up that tweeting fast. So I will have my trusty iPhone 6, and I will actually be using my iPad probably more than I do my iPhone for this event because Buffer, my favorite and most used social tool, actually has a new iPad app. So I'm going to give that iPad app a run for its money there at IBM Insight. So Sunday through Wednesday, I'll be tweeting and joining you for some iSocialTalk events there live at Mandalay Bay, where I'll be there talking big data and analytics. So hopefully you'll join me. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Do me a favor, hit subscribe, leave your comments in the comment section, give me some ideas to talk about. If there's some things you want me to investigate or tweet about when I'm there in Vegas at IBM Insight, please don't hesitate to ask. As always, the easiest place to engage me, which my wife often admits that she might better tweet me than text me, is on Twitter, iSocialFans. And stay tuned to next week. You'll be seeing me live iSocialTalks and some Twitter chats with a whole different background. I won't be in the comforts of my own home, but I will make sure to have my Geeks toys and tricks out and talking big data, analytics. Have fun. Thanks again. iSocialTalks. I'll see you from Vegas.